Welcome back to the Full-Time Ultras, and it's depression galore today. I don't know how I've been dragged onto this show to do it, but yeah, we don't complain. We show our faces when our teams lose, but horrific night if you're a United fan. But if you're a Chelsea fan, then it's been a really good last couple of hours. We've got our Chelsea expert who's, I think, after a long time has been a really happy person after a big game, I would say. How was it for you?
Bit cold, isn't it?
No,
Yeah. Of course. Of course.
AC on karo yaar. गर्मी लग रहा है.
I think the City game was. I think we did well in the City game, but yes, obviously a win is a win, and the manner of the win is most satisfying. So.
Yeah. What about you?
हम कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे, हम डिस्प्रेशन में हैं.
Yeah, very, very frustrating night, and to even endure that for at what 3 o'clock in the night, 3:30 in the night. Everything, it's like when everything's going fine, life is like so good, and someone just shoots you with an arrow from, and you're not even looking, So that's how bad it was. Let's break into the game straight away. I'll start with you. I'll start with the Chelsea perspective first. You guys it's a very, very good start for you guys.
Yeah.
The first goal was very well worked. Gusto cuts in and a good shot from Gallagher. Were you impressed with the way Chelsea started?
Yeah, I was actually surprised by the quick start. By the time I woke up, the first goal had already gone in. Like, I woke up and switched on the TV and Gallagher was celebrating. I was like, wow, what a start. And then obviously went on to score another goal in 19 minutes, 2-0 up. Amazing. But I think the game started well for both teams. I don't think United were also...
Yeah, we started well.
Yeah.
We moved the ball better.
A lot better in the first half than the second half, which we'll get to. But yes, I was quite surprised. But obviously, being this season Chelsea, not worth celebrating 1-0, 2-0, 3-0 leads at that stage of the game.
What did you make of the start, Raghav? Like, we spoke about how United started. Like, when we looked at the Brentford game, it was very shaky. But when I saw United, like, even when we were 1-0 down, I was like, yeah, okay, this seems fine. Like, it's not like Chelsea have been, bombarding us with attacks and, like, we've been pushed back. We were moving around the ball very, very, very fluently and with confidence. So, were you like, this is just another day and it's gonna get worse?
I actually didn't feel that way because before the game started, I was really pessimistic about our chances in this game, just purely on the basis of the Brentford performance, because the squad was more or less the same. Like you just remove Rashford and you've brought in Antony and you've switched flanks.
Yeah.
So basically that's what he did.
Casemiro came in
for McTominay.
McTominay. Yes.
Yeah. So that those two changes. Apart from that, I didn't feel that. I didn't have any high hopes from this team. But when we started the way we started, and like I felt that the game was really balanced.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that it was one side domination, like the Brentford game. So, and I was really confident that we would come back into it.
Yeah.
For some time, even as he said, it's not worth celebrating 2-0 leads with Chelsea. So somewhere I felt that we're in for a fight. We're in to fight this game, and we're not gonna let Chelsea away easy. And that's how it turned out.
So the second goal, it was a controversial moment. We've had a discussion last night in the group as well, and we've had it before the show as well. You said it's a soft penalty.
Yeah.
But it's a penalty, right? I don't know. I sit over here and I think that, yeah, it's gone against my team, definitely. So I'm going to be angry. But in terms of when you look at football as a sport in general, like, you'd be like, we were here sitting and arguing about Kyle Walker and Marcus Rashford, the thing. If you watch that video, that is also knee to knee, right? And Rashford falls down and it's like, it's not given, right? So I'm like, what is the right amount of contact today to get a penalty, and then we say we label players as divers. Like some players have the reputation, oh, he's gone down so easily, oh, we look at Sterling and we be like, this guy's gone. I know Sterling is like the extreme end, but you have players like Jota and you have players like Fernandes who have been accused so much for like going down at the slightest of touches, and then we are like, oh, this guy has got a reputation, that's not enough of a touch to go down. And then now we are here defending our teams like when it's like so soft. I just want to get your view as to what did you make of that whole situation, and I also want to understand your view on why VAR cannot intervene. I know it's a rule, but just to explain as to why do you think VAR cannot overrule the referee, saying that, boss, this is not enough of football is a contact sport, right? And contact, the threshold of contact definitely has to be more for you to go down. What do you make of the whole scenario?
So I think if that's not given on field, I don't think that's overturned either. Like if it's not a pen on field, then it's not a penalty from VAR. And I think one of the key things that has been called for, especially on the show, is consistency in refereeing decisions. I feel like we are getting that a lot more now. Like all these small touches being penalties, if the challenge is not right, I think we're seeing more of it. I'm not saying I won't say it's perfect or it's correct or whatever, but I think we are getting what we asked for in that sense. About the challenge itself, first of all, I think it's a very stupid decision from Antony to go in the way he did, because I wouldn't argue that the ball's not even there to be won, because Antony practically has to go across Kukureya's body to get the ball. And to do that in the box is a very silly decision. There is contact. I agree, it's soft. It's very soft. And Kukureya has made the most of the contact. But when you like look at all those aspects combined, the nature of the challenge, that there is contact, that he has to go across Kukureya's body to get the ball, and he's basically gone across, like while there's not much contact, and he's gone across.
But he also pulls out in the end.
Yeah, he tries to pull out, but obviously you're at that speed, so like it's bound to happen, and like it doesn't have to be intent. Like you don't have to intend to trip someone or something for it to be a foul. So I can see why you feel aggrieved by it, and it is definitely soft. I personally, I don't think I would have had any complaints either way. Like
if it was not given.
Exactly.
As well.
I so that's just my view of it. I'm sure obviously some biases are always there.
What I'm also trying to understand and what I'm trying to clarify is, like, we've been sitting here and we've been advocates of people of VAR coming in and saying that contact cannot, because for me, football is slowly getting into basketball territory, not only because of how the game was yesterday, but also in terms of the contact. I'm like, it's a contact sport, right? You can get the ball. For me, I am old school in a little bit. I understand injuries have been also hampering players. So I like a good tackle. I like a crunching tackle.
Yeah.
Like I like to see that, right? But the element of contact in the sport is decreasing so much. And we kept saying, and we latched in at Jota. I remember we all went into Jota saying like, what the hell was that? You've gone down. Of course, there was a touch, right? You've gone down. Like, what's that? How can you go down? And we've all been there. And now suddenly, just because of what the rule changes, we are here being like, yeah, maybe this is right. Maybe this is a penalty. So what do you make? What is your view on this situation as a whole, as to what should be done? Like, should we stick to this? How it has been, how penalties are now adjudged as something like this. Minimal touches, go down, referee gives it, it's a penalty. VAR can be like, oh, that's not clear and obvious. Or do we have new bars to adjust what's a penalty and what's not a penalty? How much contact is a penalty? How much contact is not a penalty?
I think right now, even the refereeing situations, they're in a tricky spot, because now they can't go back to,
mid-season they can't.
Exactly. So at least for this season, this is going to be, or I hope that this is the trend, because I do want to see that consistency. I sat here in that Jota incident saying there is contact, it's really soft, and I don't want these to be given.
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember saying that.
Yes.
And I still stand by that. I don't think like, you should, there needs to be a bit more, like, more force or more recklessness or whatever, like an added factor. But that said, I'm not too displeased about these ones being given pretty much every time now. So from that respect, I'm okay with it. But I would like to see things, dial back a bit. Like I don't want referee intervention for something like a very slight clip, because I understand that at that speed it is going to be destabilizing and it's going to bring you down, but also
it's just
like,
the consistency.
yeah.
Like, because I've seen even on the field, like it's not in the penalty box, but it's on the field where there is contact, but the referee is like, come on, get up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, where is the distinction? Like, what's the exact distinction? And the referee for me was a little bit influenced by the crowd, is what I felt. I'm not saying that's wrong. We've seen referees go to Anfield, Old Trafford in the day as well, and be influenced by it and give the decision. So I understand that. But what do you make of it, Raga? Like, what's your view on this whole situation? Did you think it was a penalty? Like, just I want you to remove your United hat in a way and think of it in a more general view. Like, say if this was another team, say if it was a Euro game. When you look at this and you see it, what do you make of it? Like, should these be given as penalties, or
like I'm pretty much going to stand by my reaction to the Jota incident, because that was pretty harsh. I pretty much said that you can't go down, you can't go down like that, and I'm going to stand by it because that's not enough. And for me there are two aspects to it. One is that the precedent has been set that you won't get a penalty if you don't go down. It's a simple principle. You have to go down for the referee to even consider giving you a penalty. So since VAR has come in and since the clear and obvious thing has come in, the players feel like, let's just take a chance, because if there is little contact and the referee thinks that it's not enough for a penalty, you won't even get a yellow card for a dive. So you won't be booked for simulation. And if you don't get a penalty, it's fine. But if you get a penalty, you're getting a clear and obvious chance to score or get a lead and get those major 3 points.
Change the game and
change the game which is what happened yesterday.
In the end, yeah.
But and another thing is that it's become more of the whims and fancies of the referee. It differs from referee to referee. It differs from game to game, which is not consistency for me. So a Darren England might not give the penalty, but a Jared Gillett has given a penalty.
I can definitely assure you, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, if this kind of incident happens in the Arsenal versus a City game, this is not being given.
Yeah.
It's not being given.
That's what I'm saying, because that's something that also influences the referee. The magnitude of the game.
Yeah.
So a Chelsea United has lost its importance a little bit, I would say, this season.
A little bit,
just based on the league standings. The referee wouldn't give such penalties because Arsenal and City are in a title race, but it's separated by a point.
But it's so ironic that we produced one of the most entertaining games and the top two had.
I mean, do you want to go there?
Have we lost it? I don't think so. It was one of the most entertaining games, even for the neutrals.
Yeah, it was. But
carry on. I just wanted to say that it hasn't lost its importance, because what we expected from Arsenal and City we got
delivered.
it in
We
this
delivered.
Game. Yeah, we got a much better
6th
blockbuster.
and 10th plays have delivered.
Yeah.
So that's the magnitude is influencing the referee, because these days our referees are also scared of the post-match consequences, because the death threats, the fans
abuse on social media.
That I think who was the referee who got death threats after the Spurs Liverpool game?
The I don't know.
Yeah,
who
the
he
Luis
was,
Diaz one.
Anthony Taylor was threatened at the airport as well.
Oh yeah, that
I don't
that's
condemn
something.
violence, but
so all these things are influencing the referees, but I don't know where the game is going, to be honest, because if this is how the trend goes, I think I agree with you. It's gonna go into a basketball territory, a non-contact territory, because even if you touch a player, he's gonna go down.
I'm worried. I'm even today worried for a shoulder to shoulder. Like how much? Like we say, oh, he's shouldered him, he's barged him. What is a barge and what's a shoulder? What's a 50-50 shoulder and what's a barge?
That's what.
Because we might be talking next time about that. Like a shoulder to shoulder has been given as a penalty, and like that's physicality at one point is the crux of what football is built on, right? It's a tackling based of sport,
True.
So that's what I'm trying to say.
But
Yeah, you were saying.
one last point that I would like to make a VAR point, because the main theme of VAR being brought in is to bring down the mistakes. Like, not mistakes, but what the referee can't see, that's what VAR was brought in to correct.
But Raghav, also, just to be neutral on the fact, we've also been sitting here and we've been saying that referees need to be empowered more. So we can also bring in that point
there needs to be a blend of VAR and referee. Look, because there have been some decisions where the referee should have stood with what he's done, but he's overturned it because VAR said it might be a clear and obvious mistake. But on the other hand, if VAR can't just get away with it, that like it's not a clear and obvious error, and like where do you draw the line? Like,
No,
if the referee says that it's not a foul, and he says you should overturn it, and they're not standing by it, and we say that it wasn't a penalty, but because of VAR it's overturned. On the other hand, there are incidents like these where it's more towards the not penalty side, but they're not being overturned. So it's the balance is not there, and it's heavily towards one side.
But I asked the same question of you. Where do you draw the line? Because you can't have every 50-50 decision looked at by VAR and sending the referee to the screen every single time. You have to have a kind of, I mean, we had a very long...
No, but VAR is checking every 50-50 decision.
It is checking, but then you can't send the referee to the screen every time or be in his ear like, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
But so the VAR is not... The VAR is checking it, and only if they find something which is like, oh,
clear
I find something...
obvious,
That's when they pull him there. So only big decisions, like there was an incident where Gallagher pushes Menu completely off the ball towards the end. VAR is not telling that, come to the screen, I think that's malicious.
Yeah.
So it's been looked at, but the referee has not been called to the screen every time. I think only decisions that is influencing the result of the game, or that is adding to a score or decreasing a score.
It's like the four kind of,
But I think the VAR, the framework has been laid down for them. Like, they only look at decisions if it's a clear red card, it's a direct red, penalties, mistaken identity,
and offsides.
and offsides.
So the whole crux is like how much contact is contact.
Exactly. So that's what they need to define, or they just need to say that they just need to be clear and upfront that whatever the referee gives and VAR says, you have to accept that. So is it that, or will there be a consistent framework laid down that okay, this is a foul, this is not a foul? Can that be done? Is it possible? So that's pretty much it
I think
for me.
we can keep talking about this point. We have a lot of aspects of the game to discuss about. United then come back into the game. Caicedo passes it back, and then Garnacho is opportunistic over there. He takes it well, finishes it off really well. Dalot with a really good cross. Bruno on the back post heads it in. What did you make of Chelsea's defending over there? What went wrong for Chelsea in that period?
I mean, you see a lot of individual errors from Chelsea defending. I don't think the structure is all that bad anymore. I think it's a lot of individual errors. The first goal that United score is miscommunication / inability to complete a what?
Do you think it's entirely Caicedo's fault over there because he was slated a lot? Do you think the defense could have been at a better place to receive that ball?
Primarily,
is it that bad a ball?
Yes, I think so, because like you can say Badiashile could have reacted to it better, sure, but Caicedo knows where Badiashile is. He can see where he is, and he's failed to play a simple pass into feet for Badiashile. He's played it like 3-4 feet ahead of him. So while I get the whole could have reacted better, I think it is primarily Caicedo's fault, and he knows it. And it's fine, mistakes do happen, but for Chelsea as a whole, when one mistake happens, they seem like mistakes breed more mistakes. They seem to compound mistakes. And as soon as that, like you said, congrats at 2-0, I was like, this is not over, because we've been here before. We've lost leads before. And At 2-1, I just knew that you're going to get at least a second. And the second goal, I mean, it's very clever movement from Bruno.
Yes.
To get to that area. It's like you can't overlook that. But also
the cross is very good.
The cross is like
perfect whip on it too. Yeah.
The goal, the quality from United is there.
It's
in
there
that, in that moment, but it also shows a lot of frailties in kind of decision making and concentration in Chelsea. And
same. It's practically
we'll get to that
we'll
one.
Get to that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so. It's so tragic, but it's very expected at this point. Unfortunately.
We get back into the game. And it's a good end to the half, because then when it's 2-2, I'm thinking that, this game is now there for the taking. And then second half, we start better, much better. Game is calmed down, settled, players are getting a little bit on the ball. And then it's a moment of magic from Antony. It's a really, really good pass from the outside of his foot, which curls in perfectly. And I basically thought Garnacho was going to take a touch over there, but he doesn't. And I think that's really smart from him. I know Petrovic charges, and we'll get to you what you think about it. For me, 2 positives from this game, and I hope they can build on. Like Garnacho has been a positive
all season,
considering his age and the effort he's being put in, and he's one of these players who's touchwood not succumb to injury yet. He's been there available whole season.
Yeah.
But from Antony, I think he had a really good game.
Yeah.
Like I would rather have a player who tracks back and shows that determination to make that challenge on Cucurella and concede a penalty. That's fine. But at least he's doing his job of tracking back. Then have someone else who's just wandering around. So for me, so for me, I'd rather have someone who bloody puts in the effort and shows that he cares for the club, right? What do you make of that goal? And do you think that this could be a transformation for Antony going ahead?
I seriously hope so, because we need something from him. Because 2 things.
He's not a 90. Let's not judge him like he's a 90 million player. He's never been a 90 million.
No, that's
player.
what. Yeah. We've massively overpaid.
Just
for
to
him.
put that asterisk. No one believes in, even in the United aspect, when he was signed, we never said he's a 90 million.
Of course.
Didn't justify that thing.
We just failed to buy him when he was available for 40. That's why we had to pay 90 million for him.
Yeah.
And I seriously hope that it's a turning point for him, as you answering your question, because one of 2 things needs to happen. Either he needs to be sold to another club for us to get another player, or if we're going into another phase of rebuilding or
realistically,
for new players.
We cannot sell him though.
Why?
How can you sell him?
Why?
Which club will be number one? Which club will be ready to pay 40 million for him? We at least need to make 40 to 45 million for us to justify a sale for him. No club's going to pay 45 million. Number 1. Number 2, he has a case on him. The case is still ongoing on him. So which team is going to sign him? So we're stuck with him unless we loan him somewhere where he gets that confidence to be like, now I'm playing regularly. I have that confidence. That's the only way out, which I don't want to see. I don't want to see him loan, because I think he can contribute. He can come in on this odd game and he can contribute.
Coming back to it, if he's being reintegrated into the squad, I seriously hope that I see more performance like this from him, because it's you can see that there's a player in him.
There's talent.
There's talent in them, and if he can produce magic moments like these, like the cross and such an enticing cross, because it's not that the keeper can stay where he is, because he knows that the player is coming in. If he doesn't come out, then he has the time to take a touch, so he has to come out. So that's how good the cross was. And in general, I have never been critical of his work rate. I've always praised Antony for his work rate, because
he gives his all on the field.
Exactly, that's one of his strong.
He makes some stupid decisions, but he's there. Like
at least
I'd rather see someone there. Like that who know at least bhag raha yaar.
Like he's come all the way to like he's there. He's in the defensive third. He's with the
tracking the fullbacks.
Tracking back, and he's giving it his all. And he's running back in attack as well. So his work rate has never been a question for me. I think the Premier League is a little too fast for him.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the time that you had in the Eredivisie
Correct.
to take a touch, to take 2-3 touches, make up your mind, and then do what you
Yeah.
want.
Or do
Premier
a little spin.
Yeah, of course. But
he did get he really got Cucurella on ice.
Oh, yeah,
yesterday.
for sure.
Cucurella was done in that
Yeah,
game.
for sure. he was.
Completely. Like I was like,
so yeah, that's so if he can become more decisive in attack,
he needs to adapt a little bit more to the
if he
league.
if he adapts better to the Premier League and he's quick with his decision making,
Hmm.
I think he can still turn around his career at United.
There is enough of talent.
There is enough of talent, and of course there is enough of talent. So if Ten Hag, touchwood, next season can turn it around for him, then I think that he's a really good player.
Aditya, quickly on the, we have to talk about a lot of things more. Quickly on the decision making of Petrovic coming forward.
He's I think the cross is really, really good. So it's kind of teased him out. And I think he's got to about he's got around halfway and he's realized I'm in trouble here. Because he can see that the ball's moving away from him. But at that same point he can't then go backwards, or he basically does the I can't hesitate at this point, so let me just continue and hope for the best. But at the end of the day, I do think it's an error from him. It's one I can kind of forgive him for, because it is a really delicious cross from Antony. It does really tease out the keeper. But it is an error nonetheless. And it's concerning point here is that he's made 2 in 2 now, because the Burnley game he tries to catch a ball and it slips through his gloves and it's gone in. And now this, so I hope this is not the start of a slide, but
I think it's a Chelsea thing.
Keepers
go to Chelsea and just
Jack has really left a big hole in that.
I mean, Mendy came
Courtois,
in,
sorry.
Yeah, Mendy came in.
Mendy was okay, but then
won the Champions League. That first season he was absolutely brilliant, and then we all know what happened.
Yeah,
the checklist is really bad.
Anyway, we'll get on to your how to do things and how to throw games away. This is your lesson 101.
The tutorial is here.
The tutorial is here as
Part
to how to throw games away. It's not the first time we've been seeing this.
Nah.
And I'll run you back to last season, Raghav. This is as United fans, where I think we've put out a stat on the group 9 times United have conceded in the 90 plus minutes this season.
Yeah.
Right? Number 1. Number 2, I'll jog you back to last season when we traveled to Brighton. And everything is fine. The game is under control. Right?
Yep.
And Luke Shaw puts his hand on top.
Yep.
And he concedes a penalty and it's gone. That for me is just lack of concentration, and it's lack of having a good mentality in the team.
True.
And that stems from the environment that's wholly
correct.
You cannot blame a manager for this.
Correct.
You will not see Manchester City doing this at the most toughest of scenarios,
correct.
right?
Correct.
You will not see City players have a brain fart moment.
Correct.
Or you will not see Liverpool players have a brain fart moment. But you will see teams like us do stupid things like that.
Correct.
Because it all stems from the fact that I've been arguing on Twitter all day saying that this is the manager's fault. He's been giving too many, he's allowed Chelsea are going to attack.
Of course.
But it's up to you that when you know the player's past you, he's gone. You cannot lay a hand on him. You cannot put a finger on him. That's basic 101 football. हम turf में भी नहीं करेंगे वो. So it's practical, and Dalot knew it. So it's that brain fart moment, and that's a penalty for me all day long. From the first one, I'll argue with anyone. That's my view that it's not a penalty. But I've seen videos on YouTube going that it's not a penalty, and what Dalot should, it's less. But he's passed him and he's got a contact. And Madueke at that point is in full flow. And he's going nowhere. Right? You don't know that cross is going. There's so many defenders in the box. That might easily get cleared. It's practically a gift that you're giving the team. Right? And then, okay, fine. It's 3-3. And it's more annoying because in that 8 minutes, whatever, I don't know how it was 8 minutes, but okay. We were at one point passing the ball around so easily.
Yeah. Bruno and Mount were running the clock down.
And I'm seeing it and Chelsea have given up. Chelsea have given up at that point. And I'm
I was about to make that notes in my mind saying that I was ready for the win and I was ready to ask you this question. It's like, why aren't Chelsea giving more? Like, why aren't Chelsea pressurizing more, you know? And at that time, I could hear United fans olaying because they've given up. They're passing up so easily. And it's just one instance where Madueke is in the box and you do this. And it's practically, the game is gone. You've given it off. Okay, chalo, 3-3. Maybe Chelsea deserved it. I'm fine. Okay, a point. It was a basketball game. It could have happened to us. We could have been there at one point because our teams are like that. What was that defending from the set piece? Like,
again, man,
take it away.
It seriously boils down to your point that it's all about mentality. You need to be razor focused for, even if it's 110 minutes, even if the referee adds on 15-20 minutes, whatever it is, you need to stay focused for the duration of the game. There's no excuse for letting down your guard in such moments and making stupid decisions. Dalot, horrible decision. Like, he's in the box and Noni Madueke, he should know that he's a left-footed player. Noni Madueke usually looks to cut inside on his left foot, and I don't think I've seen him use his right foot. So that's how much he relies on his left foot. So
he scored recently with his right foot, but okay.
Really?
No, he said he hasn't seen. So
I haven't. Yeah, maybe
even
I missed that game.
I don't remember.
Maybe I missed that game.
Normally, when a left footer is on a right foot,
yeah, of course.
You're still
his left foot. Yeah.
You're like, bhai.
Show him the line.
Rather than him being, I would want a left-footed player to be on a right foot.
Yeah. You show him the line.
Decision is, it's more lesser threat.
And I would say that Dalot did well to send him on the outside.
Yeah.
Once you sent him on the outside on
his
right foot,
तुम छोड़ दो ना उसको. वो बाकी it's your defenders in the middle to do their job.
And he had another choice. Just cover the inside. तू उसका left foot cover करके रखना. उसको right पे जो करना है कर रहे थे. Just cover that. Just make sure if he's past you, make sure he doesn't cut back onto his left foot. Right foot से उसको जो करना है कर. He could have hit the side net. Who knows?
Yeah.
And at 99 minutes, he's gone. The referee has gone past the 98 minutes. And at that time, you take such a stupid decision. I don't know what to say to this team. Like, क्या करते, क्या सोचते, कुछ समझ में नहीं आता. Like, ठीक है यार, 8 मिनट ऐड किया, तो खेलो ना. Like, don't you want to be champions? ये champion के चेहरे.
Like champions दूर का बात है.
वही तो बोल रहा हूँ. Like, the mentality is one of the key traits that you look for in a champion team.
Just move the ball ahead. I don't know why we were even trying to play off.
I don't know, man.
मार देना कोने में लेकर जा ball.
Like, I think Bruno Mount were doing that for some time.
Yeah,
on the flank. They were on the left flank. They were tackling the clock down. But and the fourth goal was even more annoying because
it's
horrible marking.
You cannot
there
even
was no marking.
analyze.
Horrible to छोड़ो. Like, there was no marking. They weren't marking the main goal thread in the Chelsea Football Club.
Yeah, that's what I said. We are
20
talking
plus
about
goals and assists, you idiots. Right there. वो 20 नंबर ने उसका टी-शर्ट पे जो लिखा है उतने गोल असिस्ट किए उसने ये सीजन, उससे ज्यादा. तुम क्या सोच रहे हो? तुम क्या? And I saw an image that 5 players are pointing to Palmer. Like, जाना किसी को नहीं है.
He's there, huh? He's there.
वो है, हाँ देखा. वो 11 में से एक प्लेयर वो है. तो जाओ ना. अरे क्लोज डाउन करो, कुछ तो करो. Like, what are you trying to do standing there pointing at him?
To be fair, like, those players were like, I think it was McTominay, Maguire, like they're all on the goal line
inside,
area. They're in the 6-yard box,
Mm.
and Palmer's on the other. Like, they're well within their rights to be like,
Just go
someone
there.
go close him down, because obviously they're not going to get there in that time.
Someone has to, man. Someone has to have the presence of mind to, भाई जाना पड़ेगा. वो बंदा कुछ मार दिया तो कुछ हो सकता है. उतना भी दिमाग नहीं है इनमें.
But yeah, just to conclude, you had your fun. बहुत हंसा अभी. और मत
No, I actually have a couple of things to say. I think also United is not just the mentality aspect, it's also the conditioning aspect, because as you said, that game was a basketball game, and it was just end to end. It was non-stop, like, you attack, we attack, you attack, we attack.
Both teams actually.
Exactly.
I feel both teams are, there's so much of similarities between
Exactly.
both teams.
There was no real control in midfield. Like, the midfield was non-existent. It was just balls going here, balls going here. It was absolute chaos, and that's really draining on the players. And you said you were going to ask me why Chelsea aren't giving more. It's probably because, I mean, that was it. Like, that was the gas tanks were empty at that point. And it's the same thing that happened with Dalot. Like, tired bodies, fatigue leads to tired minds and tired positions.
Yeah, very well put.
And he made an error, and he knew, as you said, he knew it. As soon as he makes that tackle, he looks up at Maguire and is like, I'm sorry.
There's no thing that
and
he's
he
gone
puts
down.
his head down. Like, when the referee blew, his head was down on the ground.
He knew exactly
it's
what
a foul.
he done.
He knew it's a foul. Everybody knew it's a foul.
Yeah, and I mean, it was on 96 minutes, and the reason it was that much was added on was because it was quite a lengthy VAR check. But also, before the corner itself, from kickoff, what you all try to do next is horrible. You all try to go and score on the other end.
Exactly,
And
my point.
That leads to a 4-on-2 attack,
Exactly.
from which we should have scored.
I know why we've done it, because maybe we've thought that
we should win this. We've just given away lead. We need to get it back.
Let's go and do it.
I think it was more of a do-or-die game for us. Just to stay in the top 5 race.
Exactly.
Just to stay in the race for Champions League and
Exactly.
Europe.
Yeah.
We had to win this game.
No, but I think
Especially after the Brentford game, we had to win this one.
no.
Because I think they did it because I'm not saying if I that's what I'm going to speak about, what we could have done to avoid it, because I think I am in support of Ten Hag, but I think he's got his substitutions wrong in this game. We'll come to that. Obviously, definitely we'll come to that. Secondly, first of all, before we start talking about United's future and what's going to happen, there are reports coming out that maybe Ten Hag will be sacked. Then Athletic come out saying that no, he has the backing of Jim Ratcliffe. We'll get into that in the next section. But I just want to ask you, in conclusion with Chelsea, it is basically a bonus that y'all have got, because I don't think y'all have sat there expecting that let alone get a point, but get 2. So now you're at a point where y'all are on the first page now, finally 10th. Do you feel that this should be a starting point for y'all to get into a run? But y'all have been there, y'all have had these victories, but still y'all have not been able to build on this. What do you want to see quickly going forward?
Yeah, I think we've had a few false dawns in that sense. We've rarely ever strung like 3-4 results together to really push. That said, this win emotionally has to count for something. On the pitch, it was horrible. The brand of football from both teams was quite bad, especially in the second half. But just the manner of this win, it has to count for something. And I know this is not what you asked, but I just want to, we haven't spoken about this guy at all so far.
Go on.
Has to, because he's second in the scoring charts, by the way. He's on 16 goals. He's 2 behind Haaland right now. And what a find. Y'all were speaking about signing of the season last podcast. McAllister surely is up there, but this guy is, if you ask for most valuable player in any side, it's got to be Palmer at Chelsea, because
his impact for Chelsea
is
because
incredible.
McAllister, of course, he's had impact on Liverpool, but you're basically talking about a player who's keeping his club single-handedly.
I'd say relevant at this point.
I think they would have been 14, 15 easily rehte the ye time pe. I think they would have had a worse season than last season if it wasn't for Palmer. Do you agree?
I think so too, because he's bailed us out of so many tough sets. The penalty you said, 99th minute.
So calm.
The pressure on him, and he did the exact same. It's even worse when you've already taken a penalty in the game. Kane found that out in the World Cup. The pressure is just that much higher, especially at that late stage. But the composure on the guy to just slot it home that calmly, and it often feels like in the midst of all the chaos that's at Chelsea, that's the one guy who's always got his head squarely on his shoulders. He's very calm. He knows what the best decision is, and he takes it every time. So I'm just in awe of that guy, and I just had to I have to give him his flowers, so to speak.
Anything more you want to see from this team do better?
Yes, more consistency, obviously. Less defensive errors, because we've struggled a lot. And set piece defending. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. The Burnley game exposed that. Could have lost that game because another set piece almost conceded.
I think if they Burnley had 11, so y'all were in trouble.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we would have been fine because then it's not like now they're 10 when we are expected to win, and then that kind of thing does not come onto the head. Maybe it's that, but the ability to deal with situations is still a bit lacking in a very young squad, admittedly. But need to see more consistency and need to see that this win, the manner of this win, the pure emotion of this win, it has to count for something. It has to lead towards, better performances down the line. And hopefully this is like a bonding moment for like the fans, players and coach, because this was massive.
Yeah.
That was just massive.
We'll come to us. Like I said, for me, positives in that game was definitely, you look at Antony's performance, you look at Garnacho. I still back the manager and I want the manager to be in charge. But I think he got his... For me, there were the substitutions that were... He got it wrong.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't think that game needed Rashford to come in. Considering... Not only because of the way he played. I was like, on Twitter, I was on Twitter constantly. And people were like, get Rashford in. This is the game for him.
Yeah.
Before he even coming, get him in. This is the game for him. And in my head, I was like, okay, get him on, but not in the place of Højlund. Or I don't think not even in the place of Garnacho or Antony, because these guys have been there. They've been tracking back. They've been in the intensity of the game. They know it's up and down.
Correct.
He comes on and he's been put centrally, right? And I don't know what... There is an issue, definitely. The reports are that he's been carrying a knock. He's been playing with injury. So is Bruno. But Bruno is at least there. He's dying on the field. He's covering every blade of grass. He's there. He's making mistakes, but you can see him that he's like...
Correct.
He's trying.
He's trying. For me, where Rashford should have not been on that pitch is because the moment Rashford got on that pitch, Chelsea's defenders had more calm on the ball.
Yeah, correct.
When Højlund was there, Chelsea's defenders didn't have enough of time. Badiashile and who's the other guy? Disasi did not have enough of time to play out from the back.
Correct.
And at that time, in the end, that 6 or 7 minutes, you need especially your front man to just keep the defenders under pressure.
Correct.
Don't allow them to get the ball. Tell them to play long. You cannot play through us. That cannot happen, especially when Chelsea are dead. I don't know what's happening with Amrabat. What has happened? He's made a mistake on the City game. He's come in and he's made a mistake. But he's a defensive midfielder, for God's damn sake. You do not have a 2-goal lead. You have a 1-goal lead. So you bring in someone who can... I know you've used all your defenders. You don't have defenders on the bench. But instead of bringing in... That game did not need an attacker. We didn't need to go 4-2. We needed to set up a low block, and because Chelsea struggle against low blocks.
Correct.
They can't score if you go low.
Correct.
Why are we attacking Chelsea? Because that's at their best. When you attack them, they find space and they are through. You keep a low block, and that's what Burnley did as well. So for me, that's where he's got his tactics absolutely wrong. And I'm not pouncing on him saying that, he's got it wrong, chuck him out, whatever. I'm just saying that he's got it wrong. So you say it when it's wrong. I'm not going to hide, and I'm not going to be the fact, nahi, uska galti nahi tha, manager ka kuch bhi galti nahi tha, it was just the player's fault in the end. Do you second it? What did you feel we got wrong? Quickly.
No, I think that I'm actually going to support Ten Hag here, because I think that he got it wrong. I'm not, but he couldn't have played. I don't think that Højlund was fit enough to play 90. That's the main reason that he's removed. I'm going towards the reasoning for removing Højlund rather than bring on Rashford. But I'll go to the other side, being that if you're removing Højlund, then you should know that you could have brought in Ahmad.
Midfield, na? Or bring in Ahmad who can press.
Yes, exactly. You could have brought in Ahmad. You could have brought in Eriksson. You have that option.
Yeah, you pack the midfield, because the midfield is where both the teams have not been able to grasp hold of.
Exactly. So, yeah, but I don't... somewhere, his lack of options, I think he's been hamstrung by the lack of options on his bench, because he's had to bring on Johnny Evans at halftime, and he has had to remove Johnny Evans again to bring on Willie Kamwala. So he's had to do that substitute on, substitute off thing. So I think
It's
he's
just a mad
wasted.
season.
His 2 substitutions were wasted because of that. And if not for that, I think he would have brought on Eriksen or Ahmad, either of them. But either way, I don't think. Yeah, I agree with you that this wasn't the game for Rashford because
Especially centrally.
centrally, भाई किधर भी उसके लिए game नहीं था, because we needed someone who could press. At 2-3, you need someone who will put the
Because
defenders
when
under
Mount
pressure.
came in,
and
Mount
back.
did well.
Yeah,
So you packed the midfield.
exactly.
Mount was like he took the pressure off on some
Exactly.
scenarios where there were these interchanging of passes.
Yeah.
Mount was highly involved in that. So
That's where like he could, and game management अपना strong suit है ही नहीं. Like even and we
Brentford as well. We quickly
Brentford as well.
concede. You all have been on the same boat as
Yeah,
well.
of
It's
course.
pretty much the same
that,
issues.
That was the state of the game.
Where quickly on the manager situation, what do you feel? Do you still have a lot of fans lost it? We are playing Liverpool on the weekend, and practically some of us have put out our white flags already, saying that it's defeat. Considering how Liverpool are at the moment, title chasing, Klopp leaving, a lot of people are saying that could be his last straw. But Laurie Whitwell has come out saying that no, he does have the backing of the manager. He is ready to, not have his authority taken off, be the head coach now, have work under a proper recruitment system, don't have any power. Do you think he's the right man still to move us forward, or you think that no, if it's a clean house, then the entire person, including the manager, needs to go?
No, I think Ten Hag is the right man to take us forward. I still back the manager, because I don't think that there's not much he can do with the squad. Like 53 injuries, 53 different instances of
60 injuries. Abhi 60 hai.
60 हो गया.
60 touch.
I-
60 injuries.
60 injuries, yeah.
60 injuries.
60 injuries in a season
60
is not
injuries,
a small
28
thing.
defensive changes.
Exactly.
Like 28 defensive combinations.
That's what. So that's not a joke. And to do that, and there's not much that Ten Hag could have done with the squad, and what he's done is what he could have managed. I think that we could have been worse. He somehow managed to get us 6th, and we're still in for a shout. Like ऐसा थोड़ा है कि Champions League जा सकता है. We can finish 5th or something. So I feel that he's the right guy to take us forward. But if somehow he agrees to be the head coach, I think that could be the turning point for us next season. Because the structure that we're making, the recruitment structure, is going really well. We're making a really good structure, and if Ten Hag fits into that structure,
if the
I
right
think- I
players are
think-
bought for him,
Exactly.
as to how he wants
if the
to
right
play.
players are bought for him, I think he can take this team forward into a really bright future.
I just want to get your view quickly on it as the last point before we wrap up the show. I just want you to know, because Pochettino and Ten Hag are basically coaches that are kind of molded from the same bracket, where they want their players to work very hard.
Yeah.
Intense training, right? High conditioning from the players. Because I was reading somewhere that City's players do not train very intensively. Because if you look at how City also play, they are not covering too much of space on the ground. They are very compact. Like their passes, half of the time you look at the City players, they're strolling on the pitch. They're not running. They're not making high intensity sprints. But when you look at our clubs like Liverpool, we also, and then obviously the godfather is Klopp, right? Who has this high intensity, heavy metal football that, you're making constant sprints, you're pressing like mad. And that's what I said when I look at United and when I look at Chelsea, they're trying to adapt in that way. And I think Poch and Ten Hag do not at the moment have the players to do that. They need a little bit of more. Maybe Chelsea do have a little bit. They need to build them up into the players. But for United, I think mismanagement, recruitment has been bad. So the players are not there. And the players who are there at the moment are playing because their conditioning is good. But you can basically make out this season that the players who are not up for it in terms of playing this style of football, the likes of Martial, the likes of Varane, their body cannot take it. Even Chelsea, you all have been having a lot of injuries. Some of the players, they just cannot take this high intensity, high conditioning style of football. What do you, as a opposition, as a rival fan, make of this? Do you think it's like a change is needed? Do you think this football is not sustainable? What is your view? on it.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, like you can kind of broadly divide the top sides, counting, I mean, Chelsea and United for now, into like, control sides like the City, the Arsenals, and then chaos sides, Liverpool being the best example of
Evolved.
it. Exactly, the most evolved example of it. Both, I wouldn't say Poch and Ten Hag like fit exactly like a Liverpool, but they're more towards that side.
That side, yes.
It's very heavy. It's high pressing, heavy transitional football. And I was actually reading up on this. The high shot volume that you all have faced. Not a lot of it has, it's not like meaningful shots. Like the XG that you all have conceded from those shots is quite low. So that context is very important. That
exactly.
In that instance.
Where people they just put on tweets saying that we've conceded so many shots.
Yeah, 15 shots.
Agar 50 yard se shot, it's not threatening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like if you have people in the way, then
fine,
like,
take your shot.
Take
I want you to take a shot from far.
Exactly, that's the point.
I don't want you to take a shot from inside the box.
Exactly. You're giving up low value chances, and that's fine. I agree that the conditioning aspect is very low, both for us and for y'all. And I don't know. It seems to be a combination of factors, because I wouldn't say it's just, some players can't take it, because the amount of football that's being played, to your point, just the added time also, but more broadly, the number of games that are being played has been increasing year on year, and it's going to get worse now. Next season, the Champions League is going to have God knows how many games, and that's just going to take a large toll on these players. So I don't think it's easy to boil it down to that just one factor. But Ten Hag, for me, I don't think I think he's your best option still.
Yeah.
Honestly, like if you sack him, whom do you get in?
No one's out there.
Exactly. And also to your point about the players, like you've got players from 2 managers back or something. So it is going to take time. It's a transition, something a lot of Chelsea fans are still finding it hard to accept or digest. I see a lot of watch out messages in a Chelsea kind of setting as well. But it's a transition. It's going to take a bit of time for both teams to really get to what they used to be. It does require patience, and I think if you all sack him now, it's just repeating the cycle. Then you're back to square one.
Yeah.
You're just going back onto that same.
Correct.
Oh, now we
That's
need
what
two
I was
more
saying.
years.
Every player again starts from zero.
Exactly. It's
so at least now with this manager, we know which players we need to boot out and which players we need to keep.
Exactly.
Precisely.
Another manager comes and he's saying, no, I want Sancho. I want Maguire. And then again, it's the same cycle.
Exactly.
Correct.
So I think that's where Arsenal were the side that profited the most in terms of giving the manager their time. But anyway, I think we've covered most aspects of the United and the Chelsea game. It was a roller coaster of a game. And like we've said, as a United fan, it's hard to take, but that was the nature of the game. It could have been us on the winning side. But it ended up being Chelsea. But we'll take the defeat on the chin. But let us know what you all thought about the game. What are your views about it? Let us know in the comments below. And do the usual drill, like, share and subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel, guys. It's you don't need to pay for that. You just need to hit the button over there and turn on the notification bell as well, so that as soon as the video drops, y'all can get a notification and y'all can immediately catch and be up to the latest content. Anyway, we'll take your leave and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.